And we're back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. Real quick, before we get into last rants. Buffy number 34, part 3 of the Twilight story arc, where Brad Metzler is kind of like wrapping things up, setting up the end. First 2 issues, we loved them.
Yep.
Loved them. Blown away by them.
This one, not so much.
WTF.
So ridiculous.
What happened? I mean, and I read the interview on CBR about this whole thing. I mean, everyone's calling this the sex issue, where it's throughout the whole issue, Angel and Buffy are having sex, and literally, like, you know, helping the world come to an end. Mind you, not the first time that's ever happened.
Right.
The episode of Buffy where the Buffy and Riley spent this whole time having sex throughout the whole episode, and the world was also coming to an end because of that. It's like, gee, you know, can we go somewhere new, you know, with this? And this, I know, was Joss's idea, so it's not like, you know, Brad...
But a whole fucking issue, man.
Yeah, a whole issue of that.
God
And
damn.
there was so much thought, so much talk given to the explicit nature of the sex. This really wasn't explicit.
The only thing that saved this issue was the Giles monologue going on about the history of stuff. Like, that stuff was pretty interesting, and I wish that was more of the book.
Right. The problem, though, was that the whole issue of the sex detracted. I mean, I knew they wanted it to be part of the story.
Which is fine if it's a part of the story, but it's the whole story. It's like page after page, splash page after splash page. It's like, ugh. And everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of Georges Genthy's work, too, and I was just like, ugh.
But anyway, it also settles the whole issue of who Buffy's true love is. So those who were still rooting for Spike, sorry, done.
Yep.
Meh. Anyway, we're now at the part that we call Last Rants. And Last Rants is when Jose and I talk about something that might have gotten our ire in a previous review or something, or go on to something new. It's going to be a little bit of both. Because by the time this video is posted, many of you will know about the Eisner nominations. Mm-hmm. We announced it on the CCW blog.
Well, not really.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
It was in the comments.
I
didn't make a huge post about it, because everyone was posting about it.
No, I did a post about John Lehman.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, congratulations to John Lehman and Rob Guillory for
your nomination. You're welcome.
Too bad the awards suck now. Can I say that? Sorry. If you win, it's awesome, but if you don't, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
You know, some really weird shit happened. Because as elated as I was for John and Rob for getting their nomination,
it kind of tarnishes their nomination.
It does.
It really does.
It's kind of like if you get, like, if I was, like, nominated for an Oscar, like, I'm nominated for a Best Actor Oscar, right? And then
Rob Schneider
is in
the same category with you.
I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I'd be like, really? that was the bar I had to, you know, get over? So you see, what happened with the Eisners? Well, Chu was nominated for Best New Series, and Rob and John were nominated, of course. So good for them. There were a bunch of other books too that were in the same category. It's going to be tough. I think Chu can pull it out, though. I think the closest would be maybe Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
And there was another. I feel bad. I don't feel bad because I'm rooting for John. But best books, generally best.
Best. What was it? Best storyline or limited series. I believe was and Old Man Logan.
Old Man Logan. Blackest Night was...
Blackest Night, which I can see, which is fine.
For miniseries.
No, but I think it's miniseries or storyline. I think that's... You know, we're not fucking professionals at all here, so we don't have any of this stuff around us and writing it down, so... You know... I don't want to hear any bitching complaining like, it's not right.
What's the... no, the sore thumb that's sticking out is, yes, Old Man Logan.
Yeah, Old Man Logan.
Old Man Logan was nominated for an Eisner. Now, the first thing is a technical issue. The Eisners, it was so late. Right? The Eisners for this year, aren't they for last year?
I don't know. See, I think DJ Sweet made a comment saying how he was asking, he was wondering, like, yeah, what is the deal? Because I think there's some books that came out this year which are also nominated. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the...
is it within a certain time period? I don't know.
Well, who knows? Because I think Old Man Logan, it took, 16 months to print.
Yeah, it took, 2 years, almost 2 years to finally complete.
Yeah.
So the fact that it got nominated at the end, I don't
again, let's reward laziness.
Well, I won't go so far to call it lazy.
I did.
It was other things, but beyond... If the Eisners
are the best of the best,
recognize the best in comics, the books that represent,
and we understand that there's the Harveys and everyone has their own things, but the Eisners are around, and we're talking about the Eisners. Yeah. So don't be like, oh, the other awards are the same. Well, we're talking about the fucking Eisners because that's what we read about, and we're gonna stick to that.
Was Invincible nominated for an Eisner?
No.
No,
and we'll talk about that in a second.
Has Robert Kirkman ever been nominated for an Eisner?
I don't know. I should have done some homework on that.
See, because the thing is, again, and I know this all comes down to opinion, but what did Old Man Logan, what did that series do to really advance what comics were?
Yeah, right?
The book sold. That we know.
Yeah.
The book sold, and people ate it up. All right? See, and people were all over it, and even when the final issue... which was a bloated, double, quote unquote, double-sized issue, which was really half story and all this reprinted stuff, came out. People were still all over that and talking about what a great issue it was. So anyway, the masses had their opinion. What did Old Man Logan do to advance comic books? To me, if anything,
it set it back.
It had set it back. Yeah, we've talked so much about books being some books being very derivative. Mm-hmm. When I think of the Eisners, really for the ongoing stuff. When I looked at all the mainstream stuff, I was like, "Wow, really? That was the best that the mainstream can give you." You look at the independent stuff.
Yeah,
there were some pretty good nominations there.
Yeah, it's such a weird mishmash of indies and mainstream that it's. But all right, well, that wasn't the only one. The other nomination that really, really raised people's ire, and it's not a personal thing for me, and it didn't really bug me as much, but it was another what the fuck moment, was that Best Writer, one of the nominations was James Robinson. Now, James Robinson is a good writer. He's written good stories. He wrote Starman. He's written great things. But the books that he was nominated for were JLA and Justice League Cry for Justice, which we've already talked about a lot, and we are not big fans of him. But those are the books that he's nominated for. I understand James Robinson is a good writer. I liked his stuff on Superman.
Right.
His Mon-El story. But he's not nominated for that. He's nominated for these other two books, which I'm not a big fan of at all. And this is why I think people are angry about this, and why Old Man Logan being in there is a bunch of horse shit. Because there's so many other creators in books that are so much more deserving than those. Because you don't need to hype. Do you really need to heap on more praise to Mark Millar and Steve McNiven? Like, those guys need that? Like James Robinson, he's an established creator. James Robinson, that's great. Does he need it?
And he's won before, too.
Yeah, so this is what I don't get. I mean, there's great things like Unwritten and Sweet Tooth. They're nominated for Eisners, which is awesome. But then there's just some stuff in there. You're like, what the hell is going on here? I don't get it.
Right.
And nowhere is Invincible. Like this to me is my favorite comic. And nowhere was Ryan Otley even mentioned for Best Artist, or Cliff Rathburn for inks. And FCO, how this guy is not getting nominated for Best Colorist, I have no idea. Avi and I were talking about this yesterday. Right. It just blows our mind that this guy is not nominated for Best Colorist.
It's very much like the Academy Awards. I mean, you're going to see around Oscar time,
And now look at what happened with the Oscars. They had 10 Best Movie nominations, and it have been more bullshit that the mainstream like. And that's kind of what's... I'm sorry to say this, but the awards shows are starting to just turn into like the most mediocre bullshit. And they're just getting dumbed down.
The popularity contest.
Exactly.
Old Man Logan, yeah. Now, Old Man Logan is the avatar of the Eisners this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the book that everyone read, for the most part, that, was a commercial success. The story was questionable and blah, blah, blah. But the industry wanted to recognize it for that. But artistically, if you're looking at the Eisners as a reward of artistic merit, did it really accomplish everything that you would want artistically? In my opinion, and it's just that, it's my opinion, it didn't. Did it tell a story that people wanted to read? Obviously, yeah. Did it entertain folks? Also, obviously, yes.
Well, anytime you put a Tyrannosaurus Rex in a Venom costume, how can you not entertain people?
But I mean, we're talking about the Eisners. We're talking about, and there are, again, a lot of books out there that do push the boundaries of storytelling and push the boundaries of comics that make you appreciate comics more as a medium, and they don't get recognized. Is it because they just don't sell, is my question.
Well, the thing with Blackest Night is, obviously, it was the best-selling book of the year, I think. Mm-hmm. But the thing about Blackest Night that comes along with it is that outside of the story, which I didn't like and you heard me bitch about earlier, the concept and what DC did with this event and all the things that surrounded it, like the ring promotions and all this other fun stuff, all that, I look at that nomination as encompassing all of that. Whereas Old Man Logan is a shitty story with boring art. And it does nothing. But Blackest Night, I can see, because I did like the retailer aspect of Blackest Night with the rings and just get people into comics and get people excited about comics.
Okay.
That's why I don't have a problem with Blackest Night being on there at all. Because it was good for the industry, for the most part.
So then, would we say then that the Eisners aren't so much about the artistic merit?
Well, they can't be anymore. But then you have these indie books which are all about artistic merit. I mean, there's such an imbalance that that's why I don't. You see some of these scenes, you're like, what is going on? It doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand where these people are coming from.
I don't know either. I'm like, again, I'm kind of dumbfounded. You can chalk up in a lot of cases. I know with the Academy Awards, one thing that always would drive me nuts is how a movie might, be nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Director, so on, and then it might win all the, Best Actor, Best Actress, whatever, but then it won't win Best Picture, and you're like, well, how the hell did that happen?
Exactly.
But that's simple mathematics. That's because a movie only got so many votes in a particular category, and some votes might have gone in another way, and in another, one way or another. From my understanding, the vote count, remember Shakespeare in Love beat out Saving Private Ryan by a very slim margin when it came to Best Film. So that I can understand. I don't understand the Eisner voting because it's not like things are divvied up that way. The nominations, how they get through the process of nominating and so on.
Actually, on Robot 6 today, I found it 5 minutes before we taped. There's a gentleman who was one of the judges, and he has a blog. Go to Robot 6, and there's a thing about the Eisner nominations where they talk about the James Robinson quote that he gave on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this gentleman who was a judge commented on there and put a link to his blog where he's actually taking you through the process of how. Okay. So I'll want to read that and actually see how they go, because I think there's 5 or 6 judges, but they were all from different parts of the industry. There was a retailer and art and stuff like that. Okay. So it was a conglomerate of different people. But I will want to read that.
So will there be names? Is my question, and who can we blame?
All right. So to tell you how meaningless the Eisners actually are, I don't know if certain people know this. I myself was a partial recipient of the first Eisner for Comics
the Spirit Award.
So if I can be a partial recipient of the Eisners, you know that they're shit.
Eisner Award winner, right here.
Right here. If you go on my Facebook page, there's a picture of the ad that ran in Comic Buyer's Guide way back in the day, full page ad that they took out with all the pictures of everyone who worked for the 1993. I think it was 1993. Eisner for Spirit of Retailing Moondogs, and my picture is in there, and I think it was 17, 18. But if you go on my Facebook page, it's on there. And so if I can win an Eisner Award, anybody can.
And you'll also see a picture of a very young Jose Melendez with Bruce Campbell. Do you have that on there?
No.
No? You should put that picture on there. No. An interesting thing that I'd like to find out about is how can networking affect an Eisner vote?
Well, I think that's what when I started reading this guy's blog about. I'm thinking that people have to submit their stuff kind of like the Oscars, like right. For your consideration. And I'm wondering if other companies, like how hard people. Like
the company then has to get behind you and kind of push for
exactly.
You. Like the Weinsteins would always push for their films around Oscar time. Mm-hmm. That would explain a lot as to why Old Man Logan. Because now when I think about it, isn't Old Man Logan the only thing that Marvel got nominated for?
I believe so.
So
and it's probably the worst thing that they produced.
I know it wasn't even the best stuff that they produced that year. Yeah. I mean, considering
like how Hickman's Fantastic Four was overlooked, and Jeff Parker's Agents of Atlas, how did that get overlooked? See now. I just opened up a can of worms, and we got to stop talking about this because I'm just gonna blow a gasket of all these books that didn't get nominated.
I want to say that this is the sort of thing that, and awards again are all very subjective.
I mean the only awards that matter anymore are the CCW awards at the end of the year.
The CCW awards, that we'll be holding again at the end of this year, and the Golden Lobe. Yeah,
those are the only awards that should matter in this industry, and they will be the only awards in 5 years from now.
So I'm wondering who's in line for Golden Lobe so far.
Jeff Johns. He's the front runner.
That would be ironic, wouldn't
it?
Wouldn't it? He went from being the best thing in comics to the worst.
Well, he's got 7 months to turn it around. I'm really pulling for you, Johns. Hopefully you can do it.
All right. And hopefully you folks will comment on this video as well as check out the CCW TV blog where the conversations continue. You'll also see other reviews of other books that Mr. Melendez here takes a look at, as well as participate in one of our open threads where it's anything goes. You can come on and talk about anything. A lot of fun stuff going on.
And Elliot and I will be attending the C2E2 convention, which looks to be very exciting. So we will probably be talking about that.
After. And I am hooking up with a local independent filmmaker. I'll be shooting some video.
Yeah, I'm being replaced, by the way, for the weekend. I'm not cool enough.
Geek to me. It's just me doing the solo stuff.
Oh, you mean the videos that get like 50 views?
50 views that no one watches. But I have some cool stuff lined up here, so we'll see. And
if I'm not involved, it
doesn't work. Happen. People just want you there. And be on the lookout too for our secret project that right now DMAR, Little King Ryan, and I gotten involved in that because I'm lettering it because I need to letter the comic.
When are you going to make your damn announcement already?
I'm still waiting to get the clearance, but a lot of people picked up on my reference from the last series of segments. So that was a huge clue that I dropped. And I'm hoping that after C2E2, I'll be meeting with the folks.
Oh, man. Are you going to have a panel C2E2 to unveil it?
I'm going to be on awesome. A panel there. Hopefully after C2E2.
I'll be one of the 3 people in the audience.
I'll be able to talk about it.
I'm going to supply them all with tomatoes and lettuce.
Maybe I'll get to sit next to Matt Wagner again, like I did last year at Wizard World. Who knows? We'll want to talk a little bit more about that. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. Hopefully that you folks will be tagging along. Yeah, we'll be taking a break from recording segments for one weekend. We'll be at C2E2. But check out the blog. We'll be more than likely posting stuff there, too. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Saw Clash of the Titans. Wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad?
That's my review.
Okay.
Not as bad as geeks are making it out to be.
I just hear the Kraken looks like the Rancor, so
yeah,
that's basically it. You see the just this morning, DMAR. Did you see the cartoon from DMAR? It's kind of cool. Cool. There's a lot of other stuff that DMAR and Little King Ryan are throwing me. Slow down, guys. Slow down. It's more than we can handle right now. Remember, I'm writing a monthly book right now. We're trying to. God. All right. We look forward to your comments, your feedback here on the channel and on the blog. We will see you again in about 2 weeks. So, until then, this has been...
Well, not 2 weeks from this video, because this video will be up the last video.
That'll be the last video.
It'll probably be like 3 days.
Man, who knows? And tell your friends. A lot of you folks are like messaging me and saying that you love the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what? Tell your friends. Pass the word around because...
and if they don't like it, you can just make fun of them for that.
Tell them that they're like...
If you're looking for a
troglodytes. Really. Chocolate troglodytes. Troglodytes.
Alright, finish this shit.
This has been Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.